My lord Archon, whose meekness resembled that of Moses, vouchsafed this answer: My lords, for all this I can see my lord Epimonus every night in the park, and with ladies, nor do I blame this in a young man, or the respect which is and ought to be given unto a sex that is one half of the commonwealth of mankind, and without which the other would be none. Howbeit our magistrates, I doubt, may be somewhat with the oldest to perform this part with such acceptation, and servire e non gradire e cosa da morire. Wherefore we will lay no certain obligation upon them in this point, but leave them, if it please you, unto their own fate or discretion. But this, for I know my lord Epimonus loves me, and though I can never get his esteem, I will say, if he had a mistress should use him so, he would find it a sad life. Or I appeal unto your lordships how I can resent it from such a friend that he puts King Piper's politics in the balance with mine. King Piper, I deny not, may teach his bears to dance, but they have the worst ear of all creatures. Now, how he should make them keep time in 50 several tribes, and that 2 years ago, for else it will be to no purpose, may be a small matter with my lord to promise, but it seemeth unto me of impossible performance, first through the nature of the beast, and secondly through that of the ballot, or what he hath hitherto thought so hard to is now come to be easy. But he may think that for expedition they will eat up these balls like apples. However, there is so much more in their way by the constitution of this than is to be found in that of any other commonwealth, that I am reconciled. It now appearing plainly that the points of my lord's arrows are directed at no other wight than to show the excellency of our government above others, which as he proceeds further is yet plainer, while he makes it appear that there can be no other elected by the people but smiths. Brontesque steropesque et nudus membra Piremon. Othniel, Ehud, Gideon, Jephthah, Samson, as in Israel, Miltiades, Aristides, Themistocles, Kimon, Pericles, as in Athens, Papirius, Cincinnatus, Camillus, Fabius, Scipio, as in Rome, smiths of the fortune of the commonwealth, not such as forged hobnails, but thunderbolts. Popular elections are of that kind that all the rest of the world is not able either in number or glory to equal those of these 3 commonwealths. These indeed were the ablest cudgel and football players. Bright arms were their cudgels, and the world was the ball that lay at their feet. Wherefore we are not so to understand the maxim of legislators, which holdeth all men to be wicked, and if it related to mankind or a commonwealth, the interests whereof are the only straight lines that they have whereby to reform the crooked. But as it relates unto every man or party, unto that color soever he or they pretend to be trusted apart with or by the whole. Hence, then, it is derived, which is made good in all experience, that the aristocracy is ravenous, and not the people. Your highwaymen are not such as have trades, or have been brought up into industry, but such whose education hath pretended unto that of gentlemen, My lord is so honest, he doth not know the maxims that are of absolute necessity unto the acts of wickedness. For it is most certain, if there be not more purses than thieves, that the thieves themselves must be forced to turn honest, because they cannot thrive of their trade. But now, if the people should turn thieves, who sees not that there would be more thieves than purses? Wherefore that an whole people should turn robbers or levelers is as impossible in the end as in the means. But that I do not think your artist mentioned, astronomer or arithmetician, which he be, can tell me how many barley corns would reach unto the sun. I could be content he were called unto the account, with which I shall conclude this point, when by the way I have children, my lords, the legislators, who, as if they doubted, my tackling would not hold. Leave me to flag in a perpetual calm, but for my lord Epimonus, who breathes now and then into my sails and stirs the waters. A ship maketh not her way so briskly as when she is handsomely brushed by the waves, and tumbles over those that seem to tumble against her. In which case I have perceived in the dark that light hath been stricken even out of the sea. As in this place, where my lord Epimonus, feigning to give us a demonstration of one thing, hath given it of another, and of a better. For the people of this nation, if they amount in each tribe unto 2,000 elders and 2,000 youth upon the annual roll, holding a fifth unto the whole tribe, then the whole of a tribe, not accounting women and children, must amount unto 20,000, and so the whole of the tribes being 50 unto 1,000,000. Now you have 10,000 parishes, and reckoning these one with another, each at 1,000 pounds a year dry rent, the rent or revenue of the nation, as it is or might be let to farm, amounteth unto 10 millions. And 10 millions in revenue, divided equally unto 1,000,000 of men, comes but to 10 pounds a year unto each, whereupon to maintain himself, his wife, and children. But he that hath a cow upon the common, and earns his shilling by the day at his labor, hath twice as much already as this would come unto for his share. Because if the land were thus divided, there would be nobody to set him on work, but Lord Epimonus's footman, who costs him thrice as much as one of these could thus get, would lose by this bargain. That should we speak of those innumerable trades whereupon men live not only better than others upon good shares of land, but because also purchasers of great estates? Is not this the demonstration which my lord meant, that the revenue of industry in a nation, at the least in this, is 3 or 4-fold greater than that of the mere rent? If the people then obstruct industry, they obstruct their own livelihood. But if they make war, they obstruct industry. Take the bread out of the people's mouths, as did the Roman patricians, and you are sure enough of a war. In which case, they may be levelers, but our agrarian causeth their industry to flow with milk and honey. It may be answered, O fortunati nimium, bona si sua norint agricolae, that this is true if the people were given to understand their own happiness. But where do they that? Let me answer with the like question. Where do they not? They do not know their happiness. It should seem in France, Spain, and Italy. Teach them what it is, and try whose sense is the truer. But as to the late wars in Germany, it hath been affirmed unto me there that the princes could never make the people to take arms while they had bread, and have therefore suffered countries now and then to be wasted, that they might get soldiers. This you will find to be the certain pulse and temper of the people. And if they have been already proved to be the most wise and constant order of a government, why should we think, when no man can produce one example of the common soldiery in an army mutinying because they had not captain's pay, that the prerogative should jowl the heads of the Senate together, in regard that these have the better salaries, while it must be as obnoxious unto the people in a nation as to the soldiery in an army, that it is no more possible their emoluments of this kind should be afforded by any commonwealth in the world to be made equal with those of the Senate, than that the common soldiers should be equal with the captains. It is enough to the common soldier that his virtue may bring him to be a captain, and more unto the prerogative that each of them is nearer to be a senator. If my lord think our salaries too great, and that the commonwealth is not housewife enough, whether it is better housewifery that she should keep her family from the snow, or suffer them to burn her house that they may warm themselves? For now of these will be, do you think that she came off at a cheaper rate, when men had their rewards by 1,000, 2,000 pounds a year in land of inheritance? If you say that they will be more godly than they have been, it may be ill taken, and if you cannot promise that, it is time we find out some way of stinting at least, or not curing them, of that same sacra fames. On the other side, if a poor man, as such an one may save a city, give his sweat unto the public, with that conscience can you suffer his family in the meantime to starve? But he that lays his hand upon this plough shall not lose by taking it off from his own, and a commonwealth that will mend this shall be pennywise. The Sanhedrim of Israel, being the supreme and a constant court of judicature, could not choose but to be gainful. The Senate of the Bean in Athens, because it was but annual, was moderately salaried, but that of the Areopagites, being for life bountifully. That what advantage the senators of Lacedaemon had, where there was little money or use of it, was in honor for life. The patricians, having no profit, took all, Venice being a situation where a man goes but to the door for his employment. The honor is great, and the reward very little. But in Holland a councillor of state hath 1,500 Flemish pounds a year, besides other accommodations. The States General have more. And that commonwealth looketh nearer her penny than ours need to do. For the revenue of this nation, besides that of her industry, amounts, as hath been shown, unto 10 millions, and the salaries in the whole come not unto 300,000 pounds a year. The beauty they will add unto the commonwealth will be exceedingly great, and the people delight in the commonwealth of their the beauty of their commonwealth, the encouragement they will give unto the study of the public very profitable. The accommodation they will afford unto your magistrates very honorable and easy. And the sum, when it, or twice as much, was spent on hunting and housekeeping, was never any grievance unto the people. I am ashamed to stand huckling upon this point. It is sordid. Your magistrates are rather to be provided with farther accommodations. For what if there should be sickness? Whither will you have them to remove? And this city in the soundest times, for the heat of the year is no wholesome abode. Have a care of their healths, unto whom you commit your own. I would have the Senate and the people, except they see cause to the contrary, every 1st of June to remove into the country air, for the space of 3 months. You are better fitted with summer houses for them, than if you had built them to that purpose. There is some 12 miles distance, the convalium upon the river Halcyonia. For the tribunes and the prerogative, a palace capable of 1,000 men, and at 20 miles distant you have Mount Celia. Reverend as well for the antiquity as state of a castle, completely capable of the Senate, the proposers having lodgings in the convalium, and the tribunes in Celia. It holds the correspondence between the Senate and the people exactly. And it is a small matter for the proposers being attended with the coaches and officers of state, besides other conveniences of their own, to go a matter of 5 or 10 miles. Those seats are not much farther distant, to meet the people upon any heath or field that shall be pointed, where, having dispatched their business, they may hunt their own venison, for I would have the great walled park upon the Halcyonia to belong to the signory, and those about the convalium unto the tribunes, and so go to supper. Pray, my lord, see that they do not pull down these houses to sell the lead of them. For when you have considered on it, they cannot be spared. The founders of the school in Hiera provided that the boys should have a summer seat. You should have as such care of these magistrates. But there is such a selling, such a Jewish humor in our republicans, that I cannot tell what to say of it, only this: any man that knows what belongs to a commonwealth, or how diligent every nation in that case hath been to preserve her ornaments, and shall see waste lately made, the woods adjoining unto this city, which served for the delight and health of it, cut down to be solid for 3 pence, will tell you that they who did such things would never have made a commonwealth. The like may be said of the ruin or damage done upon our cathedrals, ornaments in which this nation excels all others, nor shall this ever be excused upon the score of religion. For though true it be that God dwelleth not in houses made with hands, yet you cannot hold your assemblies but in such houses, and these are the best that have been made with hands. Nor is it well argued that they are pompous and therefore profane, or less proper for divine service, seeing that the Christians in the primitive church chose to meet with one accord in the temple, so far were they from any inclination to pull it down.